All right, all right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning and what day is it? Happy Wednesday, all you magnificent melon heads out there. I hope you guys are well. Today is February 28th, 2024, the last day of the bag of frozen suck that is February. Oh, wait, it's a leap year. We got one more day of February. Sorry about that, you guys. February 29th. It's one of them that are leap years. So much going on this morning. I don't even know where to start. First things first, Bitcoin is just going absolutely vertical right now. It's up a couple of $1,000s more this morning. It's been up a couple of $1,000s 3 days in a row, back above 60,000 right now. The money is just piling into these Bitcoin ETFs, and it's not slowing down. It looks like BlackRock is the primary beneficiary here. The BlackRock ETF, Zero Hedge had a chart out this morning showing which ETFs the funds are flowing into, and by far BlackRock is getting the lion's share of the money here. Also, Fidelity is getting in on the action to a lesser extent. They're the number two, but predominantly BlackRock. And well, I know you Bitcoin guys like to see the number going up. I like to see Bitcoin's price going up because my approach, I don't trade Bitcoin. I just buy a little bit on a regular basis, and I just stack sats. That's my approach to Bitcoin. That is a multi-year strategy. So I like seeing the number go up, but I am not comfortable with BlackRock controlling such a huge interest in Bitcoin and thus having the ability to move Bitcoin price whenever they feel like it. So enjoy the number going up, guys, but maintain a healthy dose of skepticism. That's just one thing I want to mention there. Just maintain that healthy dose of skepticism. Keep those people honest, because once BlackRock has enough to control the price, I'm not really convinced they're going to do anything good with that information. Also, Country Garden. We finally got the liquidation petition through court in Hong Kong for Evergrande. They're officially bankrupt. And, well, I don't even really know what's coming out of the Evergrande liquidation petition. They were ordered by Hong Kong court to liquidate, but the Chinese government hasn't yet told Evergrande you need to abide by that Hong Kong court decision. Well, now we've got the next chapter is starting, Country Garden. Now, if you guys have been with this channel since the beginning, you may recall like way back October, November of 2021, when I first started covering this, I had mentioned how Country Garden was the big dog. They were like the alpha of Chinese developers. They were the biggest one. And all the stories early on about how Evergrande was so bad, they all basically said, well, at least Country Garden is okay. I mean, thank God Country Garden is good. They have a healthy balance sheet. Country Garden isn't as bad as Evergrande. Thank God they're not that bad. Turns out they are. And, well, Country Garden has missed. They defaulted on bonds a few months ago. Their offshore creditors, investors from other countries, have finally hauled them into court. They filed a liquidation petition for $205 million of unpaid bonds. So that starts the clock on the next big court case, the next big bankruptcy and liquidation and wind-up petition, that whole saga ridiculousness that we saw play out with Evergrande that we still don't really have closure on. Now that's starting with Country Garden. The collapse of the China housing market, it's not over. I mean, two things I hear a lot. I hear a lot of people say, when is it going to start? Which is like, what planet have you been on for the last 3 years? And I hear a lot of people say the bottom is in. And it's interesting that those two sentences could occupy the same space, but this is the feedback I get from opposite ends. Look, it already started. It started years ago. It's ongoing, and it's nowhere near over yet. Country Garden has just been hauled into court for the first time. And Evergrande and Country Garden, there's dozens and dozens of lesser developers, not to mention all the people that they owe money to who are not going to get paid, and thus they won't be able to pay the people they owe money to. The China housing collapse is an ongoing saga. It is just getting started. We're a few years into it. But there's a long way to go there. Nowhere near a bottom, in my opinion. Now, that being said, the Chinese stock market, maybe that's found a bottom, maybe not. But the collapse in Chinese real estate is not over, not by a huge margin. Also, Beyond Meat, or should I say Beyond Ridiculous, is up 60% this morning. What? Beyond Meat. Remember? You remember during I can't stop laughing at this story. Meme stock, guys, you win this one. Congratulations. Here, let me put it on just so I can take my tinfoil hat off to the apes who are pumping Beyond Meat right now. guys, don't forget to take profits. At some point, take some profits. Enjoy the squeeze. You guys won this round. And I have no horse in this race either way. But just a reminder, in 2021, when there was no meat in the supermarket, everybody was out in the parking lot chasing rats and eating dirt, and they still wouldn't buy the Beyond Burgers. They were still sitting in the supermarket. The whole shelf was full of them. And this morning, Beyond Meat stock is rising. Why? Because they say they plan to raise prices. That's their solution. You already have this stupid Eatsy Bugs burger that nobody wants, and your big plan is to make it more expensive, and now your stock is rallying. Good luck with that. Good luck. Beyond ridiculous. Also going on this morning, guys, reverse repo. It's not falling for about a month and a half now. I mean, it's pretty clear. We're going to look at the chart. The reverse repo has stopped falling. I think what's going on there is, I talked about this with Joe Brown on my channel a couple of weeks ago, or was it last week? It was last week. I had Joe Brown on the channel to talk about the money supply is expanding again, and reverse repo is no longer falling. Credit conditions have been very loose for the last couple of weeks / months. And I think that's why the reverse repo is no longer falling. And it has a lot to do with the fact that the government, the U.S. Treasury, is just not borrowing as much money for the last couple of quarters. They're still spending like blazes. The government is still going deeper and deeper into debt. But because it's tax season and the government has money coming in, plus the Treasury general account has a few $100 billion in it, the government is just borrowing less at the moment. And so liquidity conditions in the bond market look pretty good. That's not going to last beyond a few more months. I don't know what that looks like into the fall, but for now, reverse repo is not falling. We got a French call center called Teleperformance. Their stock is dropping this morning because artificial intelligence is displacing hundreds of employees at their call centers, making them obsolete. Now, guys, it's the menial white-collar task is most at risk of being displaced by artificial intelligence. People who work in these cubicle farms, call centers, tech support, that kind of stuff. Well, we'll see. Obviously, it's happening. This stock is falling right now. Klarna, one of their big clients, the buy now, pay later firm, has said that their AI assistant is displacing a lot of their need for these call centers, and that they're claiming that customer satisfaction is not affected. We'll see. When you call customer support and you get clippy, I don't think people are going to be too happy about that, but we'll see. But AI is already starting to displace some white-collar jobs. I don't think it's going to put us all out of work and we're all just going to have to go on universal basic income tomorrow, but it is happening. It absolutely is happening, just not as crazy as I think some people in the media make it out to be. Apple Car, that project's getting canceled. Accounting irregularities at Lysol. Advanced auto parts stock is rocketing this morning, even though the quarter wasn't that good. So much going on this morning, so little time. Might as well just shrink my big melon of a head and let's see what's going on in the markets today. Guys, don't forget that thumbs up and don't forget that subscribe button and that notification bell. And if you haven't already, as soon as this stream is over, I want you to go watch this video. It's the latest video in my feed. After my live stream from yesterday morning, I posted this one. Most important work I've ever done on this channel is in this video. I think you need to see it. I'm not going to pitch it to you, sell it to you. I think this video speaks for itself. And if you think I'm kidding, go read the comments in that video. That's a big story. All right, moving on. S&P 500 is down 16 points this morning, 0.32% lower. Finally got a bear day. I am so sick of using that bull icon. You have no idea. The Dow is down 132 or 0.34% lower this morning. Down 130 points. Again, still pretty close to some all-time highs here. NASDAQ leading the way lower, though, down 91 points, 0.51% lower ahead of the opening bell. So stocks are down pretty much across the board. The U.S. dollar is a little bit stronger this morning, back above 104, up 21 basis points to 104.04. And looks like we've got slightly lower yields on the long end of the yield curve, a couple of green ones there. The 30-year Treasury, 4.434, that's down about a half a point. The 10-year is at 4.301, down 1.5 points. 2-year at 4.683, down 3 points. And the 1 month is down a half a point, yielding 5.396. Looking at the commodities board, we've got April gold futures, $2,044. That's unchanged for the day, 0.00%. Silver not doing as well. May silver futures at $22.65. That's down about a dime this morning, 0.5% lower. Platinum is up 1.5%. Palladium getting crushed today, down 3.5%, but still above $900 for June palladium futures. And crude oil having a good day yesterday, currently at 79.22 for April West Texas Intermediate, currently up 32 cents this morning, or 0.41% higher. But the big story in commodities, we're going to call it a commodity. That's what the government says it is Bitcoin. Look at this thing. Look at it. It just broke 60,000 moments before I went live this morning, and it's already at 60,478. This thing is going straight up. Now, look, guys, again, I mentioned earlier, my strategy, I don't chase, I don't pile in, I don't try to time Bitcoin. I just nibble a little bit every week. I use an app called Swan. There's an affiliate link down below, should you feel so inclined. But this one, it's the ETFs here, guys. It's pretty clear that's what's going on here. Maybe you've got some front running of the halving cycle going on right now, but I think this is mainly ETF driven. But I just want to zoom in. We had this resistance line at 62. I talked about this yesterday. I'm sorry, at 52. Don't mean to get ahead of myself. That's how fast it's moving. I'm getting my decimal points in the wrong place. We were stuck at 52 for a couple of days. It was acting as resistance. When we finally broke above that, we just ran like the blazes, and we haven't stopped yet. $60,400 for Bitcoin this morning. And shout out to Zero Hedge, who posted this chart on X this morning showing what's going on here. And it's pretty clear, guys. This is Bitcoin ETF inflows, or I should say net flows. I want to draw your attention to this midline across the middle here, all right, where you see all these gray ones down at the bottom, or I guess that's like a dark blue. That is the Grayscale Bitcoin ETF, formerly GBTC, or formerly the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. Money is still leaving Grayscale because they charge too much in fees, right? You can get the same investment with another ETF and put a couple of percent extra in your pocket because Grayscale charges too much. It's like 6 times as much as the next expensive ETF. So Grayscale is still losing money. People are still dumping GBTC, even here, not quite as intense as early on. But look at where the money is flowing into. All this above zero, that's where the money is flowing into. The inflows are still more than the outflows, so we've still got a lot of net buying of Bitcoin in the ETFs, especially in these past 3 days when the price has gone vertical. But the black one there, that's IBIT. That's the BlackRock iShares Bitcoin ETF. And you can see most of the money is going into the BlackRock ETF here, especially in these last few days. Also, the light blue one, that's FBTC. That's the Fidelity Bitcoin ETF. That one is also seeing a lot of inflows, but BlackRock is definitely the big one. So the ETFs are driving Bitcoin right now. Bitcoiners, talk to the silver guys. Ask them their opinion about ETFs and their effect on the price of the underlying commodity. Again, right now, everybody's celebrating because the number is going up. But when numbers going up, I keep saying that's the time to ask the questions. Look what happened with gold. Look what happened with silver. This doesn't always end well, so be cautious about this. Remain skeptical of these ETFs, guys. Also, let's talk about this one. Overnight reverse repurchase agreements currently at $519 billion. I'm retiring my chart of the decline because, I used to have this line that was connecting the lows that showed, hey, right about this point, we would have been getting to zero. But a few months ago, that decline started to flatten out a little bit. And then about a month and a half ago, it went totally flat. And now the overnight reverse repo is basically unchanged. It's unchanged in the last month and a half or so. The money drain has stopped, which means, guys, that we are not about to have a liquidity event. That's the point I'm making. If we were on the verge of a liquidity event, if the market was starving for cash, we would still see this reverse repo draining, and we're not. So financial conditions are loosening. The banks are making more loans. The government is borrowing less, issuing less new debt supply, even though they're still spending money like the blazes. They're spending other money that they already borrowed temporarily. So for now, financial conditions are loose. And so reverse repo is not really falling as fast as it was. Check out that video I did with Joe Brown I did it last week with Joe. We did just kind of a open mic, if you will, about all the things affecting liquidity in the market. And reverse repo was among those. Also looking right now, this is a big one this morning. Country Garden liquidation petition adds to China's property woes. And China, well, has plenty of those property woes. The liquidation petition was filed for non-payment of a $205 million loan. Chinese developer Country Garden said on Wednesday a liquidation petition has been filed against it for non-payment of a $205 million loan, clouding its debt revamp prospects and undermining Beijing's effort to restore confidence in the property sector. Country Garden said in a regulatory filing in the Hong Kong Stock Exchange that it would resolutely oppose the petition, which was filed by a creditor, EverCredit Limited, a unit of Hong Kong-listed King Board Holdings. So Country Garden plans to resolutely oppose the petition. Country Garden, there's a very easy way to defeat this petition. You could resolutely pay the money you owe to the people that you borrowed it from on the promise that you would pay it back. So instead of paying out-of-pocket lawyers to fight this crap in court and waste even more money, maybe you just pay the money you owe. I want to scroll down a little bit here, guys, but by filing the liquidation petitions, creditors are applying pressure on the defaulted developers to come up with meaningful restructuring plans or risk being liquidated, said Nicholas Chen, an analyst with Credit Sites. Having said that, even if Country Garden was liquidated, we doubt that offshore creditors would receive much recovery proceeds given the structural subordination of offshore bondholders and that most of the developers' assets are onshore. And that's been a pretty common theme since the start of this whole saga back in 2021. The offshore creditors, the people from other countries that are owed money, you guys are hosed. You're going to get back pennies on the dollars. If anything, China will prioritize their domestic debtors well ahead of you. So good luck to those creditors. And just to illustrate what's going on at Country Garden, guys, check this chart out. This is from this Reuters article. And I want to point your attention to this chart over here. I don't know how visible it is. Yeah, you can see it from the screen there. The profit and loss, this is in half-year increments, each of these bars. And look at what happened. Look at how this started right around mid-2021. Their profit starts falling. All of a sudden, their profit falls to almost nothing in the second half of 2022, goes negative in the first half of 2023, and then these guys just fell into a bottomless chasm in the second half of 2023. Who knows what this is going to look like coming in the next time these guys report. Country Garden is toast, guys. They're not making money. They're losing money hand over fist. They owe billions. Nobody wants to buy these buildings. They still need to build more of the buildings because they've already taken money to build them. This company is done. It's just a matter of who's going to get what and how fast are they going to have to sell anything, and will we actually get any price discovery or not. Moving on to beyond ridiculous, Beyond Meat soars as price hikes, cost cuts plan. Geez, I can't even say this sentence. Let's start over, shall we? Beyond Meat soars as price hikes and cost cuts plan squeeze highly shorted shares. That sentence is such a run-on. I was really struggling with it. There's a short squeeze at Beyond Meat. Congratulations, shareholders of the tofu burgers. Your shares are rocketing higher this morning. Shares of Beyond Meat soared 56% in pre-market trading on Wednesday after the plant-based meat maker placed its bets on price hikes and steep cost cuts to turn around its battered margins, triggering a squeeze on highly shorted shares. About 37.6% of the company's free float, or shares worth $172.6 million, were shorted as of Monday, according to data and analytics firm Ortex. Guys, I mean, you could have seen this coming. When you see short interest is in like double digits, anything higher than 10% is ripe for a short squeeze. 37.6% of the float sold short. Of course this was going to happen. Now, this isn't as excessive as like GameStop was in 2021. GameStop was like 140% of the float was short. So they were naked short GameStop, which meant that stock just went crazy. But something similar going on here. Once the squeeze starts, people get liquidated. They get the call. They say, you need to put $50,000 in your account or we're going to start selling your assets. And well, when people don't post the cash, they just go in, the brokerage sells what you have and buys Beyond Meat stock to cover your short. Well, that forced buying at any price turns into a feedback loop and you end up with a short squeeze and you get shares in this ridiculous company going up 60%. Now, Beyond Meat is currently up 56% ahead of the opening bell, trading at $11.79 this morning after closing at $7.52 yesterday. Again, it wasn't a good quarter. They're raising prices. All right. Now look how ridiculous that is. I just want to remind you guys, scenes like this, we all saw this crap in 2021. Remember the bottleneck at U.S. ports. Remember the meat shortage, the chicken shortage. There was just no meat at the supermarket. Everybody was freaking out. Every day we were talking about a new shortage. And yet still, there was plenty of Beyond for sale. Nobody would touch that. Everybody would rather eat beans and rice and dirt rather than buy this crap. So even when there is no other meat available at any price, they still didn't buy Beyond Meat. So that's a warning to you guys. Yes, this squeeze could go higher. Squeezes are not necessarily the result of the underlying business model. Lucky for Beyond Meat shareholders. But remember, at the end of the day, when the squeeze is over, you're left with a company that makes a product that half the people in the world would rather starve than eat. They might as well change this ticker to Eat Z Bugs. So good luck with that one, Beyond shareholders. And call center firm sinks on Klarna claims that AI is doing the agents' jobs. Just want to add, that's Klarna claims. Klarna is one of those buy now, pay later firms. I am highly suspicious of those companies, but it looks like AI is already starting to displace certain low-skilled white-collar jobs. France's Teleperformance slumps on fears over AI impact. Teleperformance SE shares plunged on Wednesday after a statement from Klarna rekindled concerns over the impact of artificial intelligence on the French firm's call center business. Buy now, pay later firm Klarna said its AI assistant, powered by OpenAI, is doing the equivalent work of 700 full-time agents and has had 2.3 million conversations, equal to 2/3 of its customer service chats within the first month of being deployed. Now, 2.3 million conversations divided by 700 full-time agents, that's a lot of conversations per agent. I don't know what the time span is that they're talking about here, but I can tell you that these BNPL firms and these AI companies are making some very outlandish claims. I'm not sure if the numbers support it or not, but it's enough to move this stock this morning. Let's see. The AI tool resolved errands much faster and matched human levels of customer satisfaction, Klarna said. Teleperformance shares fell as much as 29% in Paris trading, the steepest drop since November of 2022, amid regular halts for volatility. So they're halting this one. Look, I just can't wait for, say you call up Klarna, you're having a problem with your buy now, pay later loan. You call up, you explain the situation, and you get Clippy on the phone, and he says, whoo, it looks like you're trying to borrow $500,000. Money's been transferred to your account. Would you like to take a survey? So good luck with that. I like the idea of getting a human being on the phone, all right? Even if that human being barely speaks broken English and can't understand a word I'm saying, I would still rather talk to a human being than a chatbot, especially some of the things that I've been seeing, like Gemini, Google's chatbot. Have you seen, the ethnically ambiguous Vikings that has been producing? Yeah, I don't want that on my customer service call. Sorry, guys. I don't trust the people writing these programs, and so I don't want them handling my customer service. I would much rather trust a guy in a call center from the People's Republic of Jakistan than I would rather get an AI chatbot on the phone. But Teleperformance stock getting crushed right now, down 15.3%. This is as quoted in I believe that's the Paris Exchange this one trades on. Apple Car cancels plans to build an electric car. We first heard about this thing in 2014. Not going to spend too much time on this one, guys, but Apple's electric car, this one, this was always weird. They called it Project Titan originally, and everybody was like, oh my God, the iCar, it's going to put everybody out of business. We heard a lot about it. We heard they were trying to poach engineers. And at the time, Apple had like $250 billion in cash. And I remember thinking, why doesn't Apple just buy Mercedes and make an electric car? Why would they build a car company from scratch? This kind of never really made a lot of sense to me. And now that the electric vehicle bubble appears to be bursting, I'm going to call it the EV bubble because we're subsidizing the hell out of this industry and people still aren't buying them. There are more EVs on the road than there were last year, but not nearly as much as they were forecasting. And at the rate these things are being subsidized, the moment those subsidies dry up, the demand for these things is just going to vanish. So Apple, I guess, is getting out in front of that trend. They're already a little late to the game, canceling this project. And let me just add that Apple's got a real innovation problem. I mean, we've been talking about this for a while. Tim Cook is very good at execution. He's very good at taking somebody else's idea and making a lot of money on it. He's probably more suited to like a utility CEO role than he is an innovation company, because since Cook took over, Apple has made ridiculous amounts of money, notably in their service segment, which has grown like gangbusters, but they haven't innovated. They haven't made an awesome product in a while. And this big, expensive goggle with a battery hanging off the back of it, I don't think that's going to be the answer to their innovation problems. Time will tell, but Apple needs to start innovating again, other than just adding another camera to their phone every couple of months. Now, this one is interesting. This isn't a stock that's going to move the market, but we're starting to see that phrase everybody fears, accounting irregularities, starting to rear its ugly head. This could be a sign of things to come. Lysol maker Reckitt Benckiser sees profits slump on lower sales and Middle East accounting issue. That's kind of important. Accounting issues. You never want to hear that in a company call. Reckitt's underwhelming results follow a dip in the European stock markets on Wednesday. Lysol seller Reckitt Benckiser Group on Wednesday posted a sharp drop in its profits for the full year 2023 as higher prices failed to offset lower sales in a grim set of results that put the company on course for its sharpest share price drop in years. The Durex owner said lower sales of cold and flu medicines and its decision to recall batches of its Nutramigen, am I saying that right? Nutramigen baby formula saw its operating profit drop 22.1%. to 2.53 billion pounds. That's about $3.2 billion. And company CEO Chris Licht called Reckitt's performance unsatisfactory. The Clearasil seller also recorded a 55 million with an M pound hit to its revenues due to an accounting anomaly related to results posted by its Middle East segment, which raised investors' fears about wider problems in the firm. Despite Reckitt's insistence, the problems were an isolated incident. All right, so accounting irregularities, that is like, oh no, that you never want to hear that on a company call, accounting irregularities. And of course, they're always going to tell you that it's an isolated incident and it's contained to just this one segment. One bad actor did it. We've taken care of the problem. Nothing to see here. Move along. But that's going to freak out investors, whether justified or not. You never want to hear that on a call. Reckitt Benckiser Group stock is down 784 pounds ahead of the open. Well, that's market is closed right now over there. Down 13.4% on this news. Biggest drop in years for Reckitt Benckiser. And guys, I just want to say thank you very much to, well, a lot of you guys. Thank you, Cole Marsh. I appreciate the super chat, sir. Not a lot to say, just being a swell guy. Appreciate that very much, Cole. Thank you, sir. And oh my goodness, my buddy Travis. Thank you. That's a purple one. Look at that pretty pink one. Thank you, Travis from Real Estate Mindset, who is one of the best in the real estate business. Appreciate the kind words this morning, Travis, and the sentiment. He says, I support nobody special. Wow, are we going to have to get like little lapel pins, or are we going to have to turn our profiles pink or something? I support nobody special. Thank you, Travis. I appreciate it, brother. You are awesome. You are bonkers, my good man. Check out Travis's channel, Real Estate Mindset. He is a frequent guest on this channel, and he is one of the best when it comes to boots on the ground information in local markets in the real estate market. He is fantastic. Love the road trip videos, brother. And thank you to Mr. Alex Lieberman, sir. You are a gentleman and a scholar. He says, AI, UBI, AI. Thank you, Sam Altman. I'm Sam Altman, and I approve this message, right? Thank you very much, Alex Lieberman. I appreciate that very much. You are awesome, sir. Thank you for the super chat, guys. I really appreciate the generosity and the well wishes and the concerns that some of you have expressed. I really do appreciate that. Thank you very much. And thank you, Agatha. I'm going to try. Let me know. Agatha, say your name the right way if I'm mispronouncing it, Agatha. Agatha Kaya. Thank you very much for gifting 5 channel memberships. I appreciate that very much. And thank you to all the other melon heads and magnanimous melon heads who have joined the channel memberships. I appreciate that very much. Agatha, I apologize if I got your name wrong. And thank you to Easy Fix, who says, didn't ETFs positively impact gold's price for the next 5 to 10 years after their inception? I'm not sure what was the year that gold ETFs first rolled out. It was probably the early 2000s, right? That's when the investing bubble really took off. So you're probably right about that. And gold did go from, what were we, like $800 an ounce in the early 2000s to, I think it was like 200. Went from like 200 to 1100 in gold in pretty short order. So that's a good point, Easy Fix, that there was some initial upward movement in the underlying metals. Now, I would add the ridiculous expansion of the money supply that happened during that same time period, we probably would have seen that change anyway. Maybe, maybe not. But right now, I can tell you, after watching what happened during the silver squeeze in, what was that, January, February of 2021, the ETFs were 100% absolutely used as sponges to absorb liquidity without affecting the underlying metal. The way they manipulated the books at the ETFs to suppress the price of metal during the silver squeeze was really, it was disgusting. It made me sick to my stomach. It's one of the reasons why I started this channel. There was so much fraud and dirtbaggery, there's that word again, going on in precious metals, that I started making the videos on Reddit, and here we are today. So that's, you ever just sit there and say, how the heck did I get here? How did this happen? Well, silver happened. That's how I got here. It all started with the shiny. I like the shiny, guys. Thank you very much, Easy Fix. I appreciate the super chat and the support of the channel. And thank you, everybody, for having your coffee with the Melon Heads this morning. I really appreciate that very much. Once again, guys, go check out that video from yesterday about Hyperscale Nexus. You don't want to miss that one. It's the single most important video I've ever made on this channel. I cannot emphasize enough. Go watch that one. It speaks for itself. It's long. There's a lot of information. You're drinking from the fire hose, but it is worth the minutes. I promise you that. Better than an episode of CSI, and it is all true. Thank you, everybody, for the super chats, for the support of the channel. Thank you to my magnanimous Melon Heads and Patreon supporters. Looking forward to talking to you guys at 3 p.m. today. Links down below to all that good stuff, should you feel so inclined. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. I love you guys. Till next time, live small and dream big.